by saying, I mean, I'm head of a state agency and I understand my responsibilities to the members of the General Assembly, so I'm available for any questions that you have on either matters that are pending before us or legislative matters that come up next January, and I look forward to appearing before you in person starting in January.
Great. Okay, Vice Chair Kagan, you've got your.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you all. This was very helpful. And to me anyway, it seemed like it was the right level of high level and basic. So thank you for that. I have a question that, just since we had a few extra minutes, that I just want to ask, that goes back a while in the presentation, which was about your capacity, your authority over siting. I just want to go to my notes for 1 second. PSC has siting authority, and I just wonder if Chair Hoover or anyone can speak about what's considered, and is there consumer community impact? What about environmental justice? What is the impact and stuff? Can you just talk about that?
Sure. So Maryland has a fairly extensive process and procedure for determining the siting of energy facilities. And traditionally it was large scale power plants that ran on coal or natural gas, and or in one case nuclear energy. Now it's more related to renewable resources, so the utility scale solar projects and the land-based wind projects. So all of those things, the developers submitted application to the Public Service Commission to get what's known as a certificate of public convenience and necessity, basically a license to build from us in order to construct these things. That then goes to the Power Plant Research Program. They bring in a multiplicity of state agencies who analyze the project for its impacts on a wide variety of things, both environmental but also cultural and things like that. They make a list of recommendations to the Public Service Commission. We also invite participation by the people that are living in the area affected by the energy facility, as well as the local governments. All of those entities participate in a proceeding before the Public Service Commission, and we review the application, the comments that are made on it, and most importantly, the list of recommendations provided by the state agencies through the Power Plant Research Program, and then ultimately make a decision as to whether or not to grant the certificate. Once that's granted, then the facility can start its process of actual construction. They still need to get the local permits that any construction project needs to get. But what it does do, it does override any sort of zoning concerns that may come up. But that's essentially how the process works.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, just a quick follow-up. So you talked about community testimony and engagement and stuff. Are there rules and expectations or practices as to how community members would hear about something that would be proposed to be in their community?
Well, just like, with any other, like with any government situation, the applicant is actually required to give public notification through various local media contexts. I mean, historically it had been in newspapers, and now we're looking for other ways of doing that. So,
but it's on the utility, not the PSC. The utility.
Yeah, not the PSC. I mean, but we oversee, we review. I mean, part of the filing they make, the applicant has to show to us the outreach that they have done to the local community to let them know that this project is a potential neighbor of theirs.
Lisa, I don't want to take more of the committee's time on this, but I'm interested in learning details about that. Exactly. Okay. The expectations, what the mileage circumference is, how they're doing it, because different people with different languages, different internet access, different, educational levels are going to have different ways of learning or not learning about something that might happen in their community. So I'd love to hear more about that.
I want to throw 2 cents on. So first of all, this issue has been very controversial in terms of the interplay between the Public Service Commission and local government over the years. In fact, one of the cases, perennial, went all the way to the High Court of Maryland to try to figure out if you've got a conflict between local zoning and siting issues and the Public Service Commission, who wins? And the court said that it's the Public Service Commission. They can take due note of local recommendations or concerns, but at the end of the day, the PSC essentially preempts and is top dog. Having said that, we had a bill in the committee this session where the interpretation of that case was by MACO had a different interpretation of a bill that we had in the committee. So I don't want to leave the impression that this is sort of this is still a muddy watered kind of topic. And in fact, the citing issue was a topic of a letter that Chair Wilson and I actually sent to Governor Moore within the last few weeks, just sort of putting this issue of citing back on the radar screen. But nonetheless, this has been a topic, even our own local government, Madam Vice Chair, we have citing issues in the Ag Reserve, and we had zoning issues about solar, and there was pushback. So this is still, I think, not a clean topic, although the court has spoken. There, again, I think MACO may have a different interpretation than I think myself and some other folks had of that court case. I don't want to muddy the waters too much, Mr. Chair Hoover, but it is a big subject.
Well, actually, just to give sort of a preview of coming attractions, I guess, I actually saw a copy of the letter that you sent to Governor Moore and read through it. I have reached out to the solar industry, the developer community, the local governments, PPRP, and I am going to be trying to undertake a process to try to get all these parties together to discuss the current process and potential changes to that process to try to lower the temperature maybe on some of these siting things. Because I've been aware of the controversy, around the state and trying to cite these projects. There are different mandates that we're operating under. We have the RPS that requires a certain amount of renewable energy that the General Assembly's enacted and we have to implement. But on the other hand, we have this pressure from the local communities and the local governments about the project placement and things like that. So I will be working through that in some process or form. It may eventually need to be a legislative fix. If so, I'll be coming to see you, but I'm going to try to see what I can do within.
Well, I think to be continued, and I know Senator Hester, this has been a topic she's been very much out front as well on the issue of citing, and so any other questions before we adjourn? I did just want to say I thought we blocked off 10 o'clock to noon. I thought this was time well spent by the committee. And I hope everybody agrees. Any kind of final questions for either Chair Hoover? I do want to thank Team PSC, Lisa, and Ben and Brett and Chair Hoover for participating, and Alexis in our own office for putting this together.